Greetings, readers and travelers, and welcome to another episode of Stats on Stats. My name is Richie Stevens, and oh boy, this is an episode I have been way too fucking excited about, and it's finally happened. I had to receive way too many feet pics for this fucking thing to happen, but today's our very special episode because we have Matt Dinniman on the fucking show. Matt, how you doing?
Hi guys, how's it going?
It's going. How was Vegas?
Oh, Vegas was cool. I was there for the 20 Books to 50K conference, which is a writing convention, and it was pretty neat. I got to hang out with a bunch of lit RPG authors and other writers of other genres and meet a few people I hadn't met before, and got to meet a bunch of prostitutes and drug dealers and stuff too. It was really fun.
Well, that sounds like an absolute blast.
It always is.
So, and of course, as always, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Joel.
That's
I forgot your middle name, Harvey.
I have two.
I know
actually.
what they are. I couldn't do. Oh, and Brian's in the chat.
Yeah,
Brian.
no. Pretty excited about this episode.
Come on, dude, get that enthusiasm out
Dude,
there.
I'm freaking hyped. We're talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl.
And a little Kaiju Battlefield, and some.
We got
the
my
most
man,
hyped
Matt
I've ever seen,
Dinniman
Joel.
over here.
I mean, at DragonCon, he was just half drunk most of the time, so he wasn't super hyped.
That's fair.
Yeah, I tried to talk him into doing like an episode of the show without you, Richie. I don't know if he ever told you this.
Oh no, he did. He was
did.
like, "Yeah, Matt hates you. He doesn't like you." I was like, "Yeah, that checks out." No, actually, fun little story, Matt. I'm going to ruin your credibility here. I apologize. But the very first day of DragonCon, when everyone was like hanging out at the bar and everything, I was getting a little overwhelmed. So I just kind of stood off to the side for a few minutes and had one of my headphones in. And just anxiety attack. So I turned on an audiobook, and of course, it's what we were listening to in the car on our way down. And Matt walks over, starts talking to me. He's like, "You good?" Yeah, fine. What you listening to? I don't want to say it. He goes, no. What are you listening to? Turn the phone. He goes, I fucking knew it. And that's the story.
I have no recollection of this interaction.
You that was when you were like #1 on Audible. How was that?
It was right before, because it was the day. It was right before the release. It was on Thursday night, and the book released on Friday.
So how are you listening to it?
I was listening to book 5.
To book 5, okay.
Yeah, Butcher's Masquerade. No, Jeff yelled at me on...
my question still stands.
That microphone of yours picks up your liquid noises like really well.
Oh my gosh.
Should be an audiobook narrator.
So Matt, how did it feel to be #1 on Audible?
Oh, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was surreal because it happened while we were at DragonCon, and I wouldn't shut up about it, so everybody knew. So everyone was like talking to me, and then when Meryl Streep and Paget Meryl Streep had a book that came out at the same time, and that was #1 before we overtook her for like 30 seconds, and then they came back to #1. So a bunch of people started posting "fuck Meryl Streep" everywhere, and now it's my ultimate goal to get Meryl Streep on the next audiobook, and I will do whatever it takes to make that happen.
That would be hysterical.
See, now, I was like, you could put that like as a tagline into the next book or something.
And I have like a couple of very specific characters whom we haven't met yet, but may or may not have been mentioned beforehand, whom we want to play Meryl. But first, we got to make sure we can get her to do it. And she's totally not going to do it because she's not an idiot. But that would be so awesome.
Oh, who's would you settle for like Paula Dean or anyone like that?
Oh, Paula Dean. I don't know. I'd make her a really racist character, and then she wouldn't like that. But I usually write the character. We have to know pretty soon because I write the character to that voice actor because when we lock him in, like with Patrick Warburton, we knew that we had Patrick Warburton who was going to play, spoiler, Carl's dad, but Carl's dad's character is kind of, not very funny.
Right.
So I wanted to add another character in there just to showcase his like comedic talents. So that's what we ended up doing.
Which, I mean, Patrick Warburton, for what I think Jeff said, he only had like an hour of
Hmm.
like studio time with him and everything.
Hmm.
Dude gave it his all.
Yeah.
It did. I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately. I couldn't go there. I had the opportunity, but I had to do something else. So, like,
He's going to be at Indie PopCon next year.
mhm.
So of course I'm gonna try to go for just like a day pass or something, just so I can take this up there for him to sign it. Because then I'll have everyone. Because I had Travis sign it, I had you sign it, and I had Jeff sign it. Actually, I had Jeff sign it first, but I
Yeah,
just ran
you
into it
get.
first.
Yeah, I noticed. But you trade. You get Annie Ellicott to sign it, and then Ahmed Mahmoud, who's like the sound engineer from Sound Booth Theater,
Mhm.
all of them to sign it, and there'd be the whole team.
Well, that's kind of what I want to do with the special edition of book 1 that you had for the Kickstarter. That
Mhm.
I'm gonna make that like my specifically sound booth like exclusive one, just because they're killing it with those episodes, and we have episode 3 coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah, I just listened to that. It's hilarious.
Oh, they're so good. Joel, have you started the audio immersions on sound
Yeah,
booths?
yeah, I listened to them a little bit.
Oh, dude, they're just good.
Uh,
I love
But we
Joel.
got a lot of people in the chat right now, so welcome everyone. We hope that you are having a great time. So we'll start going through questions and everything here in a second. But if you get Meryl Streep, I'll reconsider my stand on being a voice in Ginger. I want to
I
see
don't think we
Brian.
can. I don't think we can afford Norton.
I think you could
No,
just give him alcohol.
it's not money. It's dignity.
Brian's delightful. What do you mean? Nowhere. You don't send the feet pics anywhere. We don't want them.
Send them to Richie.
No.
What is it? Rich Dolphus.
No.
Twitter.
Please, for the love of fucking God, no. I have received way too many feet pics. I'm about to turn my DMs off. Oh my God. That's another thing. I'm glad I'm seeing her name pop up in the comments. How do you feel about Felicia Day, like rocking Dungeon Crawler Carl merch and everything?
Oh, she's so cool. She messaged me completely out of the blue one day and was like, "Hey, I'm reading your book and I really like it." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then, and then she keeps, and then, I was like, "I appreciate that." And then, like a few weeks later, she's posted a picture. "Hey, Matt, I bought your shirt," and it's that one shirt with the goddamn it donut and then the hearts on it. And then she wears that shirt everywhere. I keep seeing her doing podcast interviews and her TikToks with her wearing the shirt, and that's amazing. So I really appreciate having her as a fan, because she's famous, that makes her more important than everybody else. So it's really helpful.
Well, I mean, Felicia's always into like, the nerd stuff and like everything she's
Mhm.
in. It's always been great. And she's actually done an audiobook. She did Rule of Cool
Right.
by Matthew Siege, and oh God, it's so fucking good. So
Yeah,
I would
yeah, and she has a new audiobook that's on Audible right now that's like an Audible original. And she wrote that. And so she's really into the idea of audiobooks. So I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I'd love to have her do one of the voices for the
uh,
audio immersion also on
that would be
Sound of
fucking
Theater.
awesome.
That'd be really cool.
Ooh, who I'm trying to think of like who she would be like really good at. And I'm trying to have we met Agatha in the audio immersion yet?
Agatha's been cast. Agatha will be on in this season, but there's plenty of people. This is the season is only book one. There's literally hundreds of characters we haven't met
Ooh,
yet.
Katya would be a good one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There's just so many good characters, and the way they're doing the cast at Samba Theater for the audio immersions they're perfect. Shout out to Jeff and the rest of the Samba Theater team, because they're kicking ass right there with that. Because I remember listening to episode 1 while at Dragon Con before I even started book 6. Because I listened to the book at at the con instead of doing con stuff. But hey, it's what I do. Oh, I'm looking at all the comments now, and it's just feet pictures. I give up.
You
I
did this
give
to
up.
yourself. I only bring it up when you bring it up. Just saying. That's not how this works.
No.
Find an example where I haven't.
On the podcast originally or during GuildifyCon, you said, "Oh, this is the requirement."
No, that was the start. That doesn't count.
No, the start was when we were doing the giveaway, and I left out the feed pics in the original tweet about the giveaway of the requirements to win.
I don't know what you're talking about.
God damn it! And now my buddy Devin, who's one of my friends from out in Colorado, he just privately messaged me feet pictures. I fucking hate it here. I hate it so much.
Good job, Devin.
God damn
Keep
it.
him in line.
So one of the questions that just popped up is, how does Matt develop his bizarre creature combinations?
We're asking real questions now. Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's ask some real questions. God damn it, I'm getting more feet pics in my fucking DMs. I'm about to turn my phone off.
I hear the buzz. Is that like a feet pick every time it buzzes? So creature combinations. Most of the creatures I use come from actual folklore, and not just like Dungeons and Dragons folklore, but I read a lot about history and read a lot of fables and short stories that were written by people very long ago, and I like to learn about creatures that come from the past, and a lot of those are taken directly from the past, not just combinations. They're like the Krassu and certain things, and then other times, like when I come up with like a weird combination or something that's like really bizarre, like the Hydra from the newest book or the Ball of Swine from the first book. I'm writing a scene. I want a monster to appear, and then I always always every time I write a scene, how can I kick this scene up a notch and make it still remain realistic, keep it in the story? And I'll do that, and then sometimes it doesn't feel as if it's enough, so I kick it up another notch, and then another notch, another notch. So it's always like, well, what if they're fighting a bunch of orcs? Well, what if they're S&M orcs? And now what if they're like all stuck together in a ball? And then that's how it goes.
So why a Mantar? Fucking why?
Well, so I wanted something, the least, like we got to meet so the Mantars come in book 3, which is the 4th floor of the Iron Tangle, and they were the conductors of the train, and I wanted a specific race to be a conductor of the train. And like, what was the least likely person you would think of to drive a train? It's just like a horse, right? So, or something, something, or it was originally actually going to be a fish people. I changed my mind, but and that's the same sort of thing. Instead of a horse, it'll be a centaur. Instead of a centaur, it's going to be a mantar. And let's make them all fans of the band Man O' War. And then that's and have them all talk in that ridiculous "Hail and kill, man" way, and be heavy metal enthusiasts, and them all being balding and really upset about it. And,
Jay, no.
So there's we may or may not see more Mantar stuff in the book 7. I've already thrown it out there, so we have to figure out what a half Mantar is eventually. So
Oh man.
I'm scared now. Oh, all right. So, Jay also asked, then what folktale does Swineball come from?
that one doesn't necessarily come from a specific folktale, but there's lots and lots and lots of stories about like communal societies of creatures that have magic that controls them in battle, and we could talk about that for hours if you want. But but it's really, it's funny. It's funny. A ball of swine, S&M swine.
You have some fucked up creatures in your books, and I love them, but Matt, are you okay?
No.
All right,
What
that's
are
all
you
we
gonna do
needed to
about
know. So one of the questions that came from one of our Twitch users, Uncomfy Lass, asked, "What shows, books, and movies inspire your humor?"
I watch ever since I was a kid. I mean, I'm probably older than you guys. I'm 49 years old. Um, and I grew up in the 80s. I watched, if it's a show that Donut mentions, other than Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls, which by the way, I've never seen a single episode of.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Uh, it's always it's a show that I love. So I started off being a kid watching lots of 80s shows like Knight Rider or The A-Team. But I was also, I didn't have very many friends because I was in a military kid, so my dad moved around a lot. And I would find the closest library and I would walk there or bike there. And I would, once I got a little bit older and I could read, and I would read everything I could. When I was in like the seventh grade, I went to like a Catholic school, which is not the same school that everybody that lived around me went. So I didn't know anybody, but the library was right there. And I went in and I read out all of their horror novels. Every single one. I read every single paperback they had in like the course of the summer. So I started like borrowing everything. I would borrow romance novels. I'd borrow like the thrillers and the Tom Clancy books. And they got to the point where she would let me borrow, the librarian would let me borrow like 15 books at a time instead of like the 7 or whatever it was. And I would just read and 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 until one day my mom found a horror novel I'd borrowed and she threw it out even though it was a library book, and then I got in trouble. But then they took pity on me, and then from there I started watching horror movies. Like I would start renting them from like the video stores. And so what inspires me is all of that pop culture stuff and comics too, but not as much. I always loved comics, but I couldn't get them as much as I could get the VHS of the movies, 80s horror, 80s adventure movies. But books and TV shows were really my biggest refuge. And I've read so much when I was a kid. I was always reading. I was reading in school when I was supposed to be doing my work. I would have a book hidden. I'd reading during recess. I was reading at night until 3, 4 in the morning. I'd wake up exhausted and I'd read on the bus. And that's what I did.
We're getting a couple of questions in here. I'm just going through them right here real quick, but
No, that makes so much sense. I wanted to do this. Well, I want to start doing this more often, but I wanted to say what makes like a certain author stand out from the crowd. And well, Dungeon Crawler Carl, like everything is just really, really good. But one thing that I see you doing that I don't see a lot is how well you portray like a character's descent into madness. Like with Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon and spoilers, but Carl starting to head down that path. I definitely don't see that a lot in other like lit RPGs. So it makes sense how if like horror was one of those things that like you got a lot of influence from, that you portray that really well.
Well, I think everything I write is horror. I think it's unrealistic to write an apocalyptic story that's not horror. Everything, the very definition of the apocalypse is, most people are dying or dying.
thank
Everyone's
fucking God.
Jeff, this is the Jeff. His Twitter is open, and if you guys want, I have his phone number actually. Geneva will send it to you, but Richie needs feet pics. Anyway,
No, the fuck I do.
I'll post book 7 in tomorrow if he gets 12,000 feet pics in his email. No, that's a joke. I haven't finished it yet.
Matt, you and I are about to throw hands here.
Do it, Richie.
No, so Anyway, back to the original question. I don't like stories. It throws me out of the story when a person is unaffected by all the horror that's going around him. And people deal with trauma and horrible events in different ways, and I like exploring that. I've had, a lot of experiences in my life where I've personally dealt with people who are going through some pretty horrific things, and those, I feel as if those stories need to be portrayed, but I also want to make the stories fun, and exciting. So, how do you make slaughtering children fun and exciting? Well, there's lots of ways, but
A good Skyrim mod.
exactly. So, it's a balancing act. I like to write about the human condition. I like
Jeff,
everything.
why? He just
What did
tagged
Jeff-
me in the post on Twitter with his toes out. I'm about to send him a link and let him join.
Amazing. But that's my answer.
Oh my god.
I thought this was going to be a serious podcast.
Oh no, it's not. God damn it, Geneva. God damn it.
No, this is mostly just make fun of Richie and shoot.
No,
the
this
shit.
podcast has just turned into bully me. That's all it is.
Don't bully Richie.
Nah, it's fine. I'm used to it at this point.
He's gonna go down the dark path and become
Jeff, if you want a link, I will
insane
send it
Richie.
to you right now.
But Richie promised me that Joel would be shirtless for this, and I don't know how.
Not once. I said I would work some magic.
See, he promised he would try.
And I said when he
admits
got
it.
in here, I said, Joel, you're supposed to be shirtless.
He
Don't bully
admits it.
Richie instead. Send him people.
I have-
God damn it, Geneva.
I don't know why.
Dude, it is cold here, like cold as balls, and I am not gonna
Dude,
be
it's
shirtless.
like 50 degrees outside right now.
So you're suggesting if we do this again in the summer, you will be shirtless?
You know what? For you, I might.
Okay. I don't really want it. I think he wants it, but
Thanks, Jeff. We love you, buddy. God damn it. Did you grow a mustache because you're new? No, I just haven't shaved. I just haven't shaved. So one of the other questions we got was actually it was from my buddy Paul. He said, when are we gonna see more Dominion of Blades? He also
Dominion of
typed it
Blades
on his Twitch as well, so we can delete that one as well.
Dominion of Blades is one of if you're not familiar, it's a lit RPG book series. There's 2 books out. It's meant to be either 3 or 4 books total, and I would be finished with it by now if the honest answer is if Dungeon Crawler Crawl hadn't taken off. I wish I had. I don't write as fast as some of these other assholes in here that are posting like 100,000 word months and stuff like that. I want to finish. I will finish it. I just, I'm not sure when it's going to happen. I will. It'll probably be sooner than you suspect, but it's still going to be a hot minute. Nina, you're distracting me with your cat. But
She was calling at me under the door. I had to give her love for a second. I'm sorry.
it's a book series I'm actually really proud of, and I really want to finish telling the story of everybody in there. By the way, if you've read Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon, and it's not necessary to read Kaiju or Dominion, but they're all connected. Those 2 are in the same universe.
Cool.
So, and if people like to ask me if I'm ever going to write another Kaiju book, and I'm not, but Dominion of Blades 3, you'll learn exactly what happened after the end of Kaiju.
Well, and you have another series. It was your first published book because you had it at DragonCon that I got to talk with you a little bit about it at the Lit RPG Under the Sea event. I'm blanking on what the title of it was.
Well, the first book I ever wrote came out way back in. You're probably thinking about The Grinding,
Yes.
that's a standalone horror novel that was published by Necro Publications back in 2013. It's not lit RPG at all. We're in the process of trying to get it back into print. The audiobook is still up on Audible, I believe. That was narrated by a horror author actually by the name of Chris Sorensen, and he did a pretty good job, I think. But the book is like a short novel about a kaiju monster that's destroying Tucson, Arizona. And it's,
I mean, who would want to go to Tucson, Arizona?
yeah.
Yes, The Grinding is up. Release date of 8/12/14.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I actually might pick that up tonight
You should.
because I need more demented fucked upness in my.
It's a perfectly normal book that isn't about trauma or anything at all.
So one of the Facebook users, it was one of the first questions we got. I was going to save it for closer towards the end of the episode, but I wanted to, let's just go ahead and knock it out. What do you think of the AI that's starting to be used in audiobooks? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, so we can talk about this all day long. I don't hate AI. The utilization of AI as a tool, I don't hate it nearly as much as some of my fellow authors do. Let me start off with saying that, like, I like Midjourney. I play with Midjourney all the time. I create stupid pictures, but I will never use it in a commercial way. I will never sell anything that I make using AI, and I feel very strongly the same way about that with audio. I will never. Well, maybe if Jeff Hayes, if he annoys me too much, I'll just steal his voice. No, seriously, in audio, it's one of the few things I feel as if in the next few years it's gonna be pretty popular. One of the uses of AI that's actually gonna be commercially popular. And I'm not a fan of it. You listen to the audiobooks that Jeff Hayes does, the whole Sound Booth Theater does, and they do a great job. And it's not just their voice; it's their acting skills, their ability to interpret the script in a way that's entertaining and amazing. And yes, it costs more because it takes many man hours to make an audiobook. As you know, Richie, because you're doing audio, right? I believe. But
I've started. Yes, it's
and it's
a lot.
It's unfortunate because people keep giving this comparison how, well, this is like when the word processor usurped the typewriter or when cars usurped horses, but it's not. This is the first time in human history where we have a new sort of invention, like an apocalyptic invention that's usurping human creativity. And it's not like replacing it with one thing for another. It's like literally replacing it and leaving the artist out in the cold. And with the art, it's already here. I was an art director for years, and people say, well, Midjourney sucks. Anybody who says Midjourney sucks, I can guarantee I can show them 10 pictures each of like master artists and done by someone that knows what they're doing with the prompts, and they won't be able to tell the difference. And audiobooks right now still aren't up there. They still suck. I suspect pretty soon when it gets to the point where the AI can read the book and understand what the emotion is trying to convey and then do it, then they're going to be pretty good. And we need to have that conversation. People like that, they tell themselves it sucks to comfort themselves. They don't want to deal with the fact that it's going to replace people like you. Richie's going to be homeless because of this. So it won't be that bad because I feel as if people will still want to go for human narrator, honestly. But it's coming, and it is, and it sucks. But I'm promising you right now, I'm never going to use it in a commercial sense. So that's my answer.
That's a good answer to have. I mean, I know.
But let me finish. I forgot something. There's a lot of my friends out there who they can't afford a narrator. They want to use it, and this is the complicated answer. should I choose between never getting narrated or having an AI version of my book? Should I choose between not having artwork at all or using Midjourney for the cover of my book? For those, and there's different answers for different things. For those two, I think, and this is a hard answer because it gets people mad, but I think it's okay in those circumstances to use it if you have to, if there's no other choice. And that's not a PC or popular answer. It makes people angry. I have narrator friends who literally use losing work because of this. And what do? It's not going to be clean. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be messy, and people are going to lose work because of it. But what do we do? I mean, what do you think, Joel?
I personally enjoy AI. I think it's gonna. I mean, yeah, there are pros and cons, but I think if people you realize how to properly utilize the programs, then they're just going to be a lot happier. I don't know.
Okay, so
AI.
hashtag cancel Joel.
No, well, okay. So AI can hold on. Damn it! I had a thought and now it's gone.
Story of Joel's life.
If you are a master at your art and you know what goes into making a good picture or like a good book or whatever, the things you can make quickly with AI and you put all your experience into that to like change it up after you like put in the initial like hard work, or not hard work, but after you like enter whatever prompts you need and then you go back and you edit it and put your experience into it. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a lot faster track to getting things done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of comments coming through about, AI won't be able to really do much because they can't capture that human emotion. And I completely agree with that. I mean, just the other day I was in my booth here and I was working with Zach Johnson, who's my mentor, and we were working on recording some stuffs. And he was just giving me like tips and all this other stuff. And he was like, we were trying to do like the dialogue marks. So it's, if a first person, if the story's being told from a first person review and the character is saying something as the door closes, like it's having that to where it doesn't break the emotion, but it also, the characters won't really have the emotion. AI is just going to read it straight through. I mean, I've listened to Alexa read me a book and I can't do it.
So the oh dang it. Why is this doing that?
Sleepy brain Joel.
Yeah. I think it makes it easier to fake like making something good, but at the same time, as long as there are people who know like what is good and like put in that extra work, that is always going to like stand out. Like there's always going to be like standouts, I feel like.
I agree. In the end, I think it comes out of whether or not it's better or the same is, it's that time's gonna eventually start to catch up with when they're, as long as it's appropriately labeled and the consumers can make an informed choice. I think in the end, I'll put anything I write up against anything. I mean, we haven't even talked about AI writing yet because that's where the real subject is, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'd rather not right now. But that I feel strongly is, even though ChatGPT has come up faster in certain aspects in the long form. That's the largest mountain to climb of all of these that we're talking about visual. Uh, between visual and audio, and then written word art. But we could talk about something else now.
I will say I have used written art to visualize some of your characters. Like the other day, or I guess whenever it came out, um, I was listening to your book and there was like a rhino man with steampunk samurai armor or something
Mhm.
like that. And I was
The
just
armored
having
Sai.
trouble wrapping my mind around what that would actually look like. So I typed a prompt into like one of the AI art generators and was like, ah, it had trouble too, but like
I just
no,
pictured it as the Rhino from Spider-Man wearing a samurai get up.
no, it reminded me of the rhinos from Panda, Kung Fu Panda,
Mhm.
My God.
The guards at the prison,
but
Kung
with
Fu
like
Panda.
steampunk.
Those are
as-
actually part of the
aspects to it.
inspiration for those guys. I'll put rhinos in everything I write eventually, but those guys are the armored Sai, and that's their name in the book, and they are the guards of the third floor of the Desperado Club, and we may or may not see more of them in book 7.
But yeah, I wouldn't even know what a Mantar looked like unless it was on the front cover of the page. I was like,
Just take one of Richie you can see right now. See, you look at Richie and cut off someone's head and then put his torso and his arms and his glasses and his
hate
weird
it.
mustache on the head.
I fucking hate it. Holy shit. Also, I've seen a couple of comments pop up. Congratulations on the very successful Kickstarter, Matt.
Oh, thank you very much.
How many stretch goals did we end up hitting?
There was a lot of them. So we had several stretch goals planned out, and this is true. I didn't expect it to get as high as it did. They said we budgeted it all out all the way through all the stretch goals, and then they said, well, the goal is going to be 18,500. And I said, like, are you smoking crack? We're not going to get 18,500. And then so they had like this graphic where the stretch goals would be like 20,000, 21,000, 22,000. And then the first, half an hour, we were approaching like 50,000. And a couple hours later, we were approaching 100,000. And they kept having to remake all these graphics for the stretch goals because it went very, very quickly. So it was really cool. It was an interesting experience. It was my first Kickstarter. It was fun. I'm glad I had a third party that runs it that has to deal with all the fulfillment and all that stuff because I've done that before and that's no fun. But I just have to sign 3,000 plus books. So
We'll try to do some last minute like just donations. Throw a little extra at you.
Take my money.
Yeah, so I have to rest my wrist and all that stuff. So
just ice it,
Yeah.
And then I would get like an icy hot or like a CBD infused like glove or something because you're gonna be having a lot. So let's look at what, Joel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk about the mechanics for a minute because I feel like the mechanics in the system of this world that's you.
I
That's
mean,
you, buddy.
it is very, very intense. Honestly, there's like so much work put into like the world and the plot and the mechanics that like I don't even know where to start with this. Like it's all really, really good. Like I love how like the classes you pick at like floor 3 and then like how Donut is constantly like changing her classes out and how the quest system they just avoid like doing quests or they like try to but they are just like bombarded by constant like approaches from random NPCs?
Well, I come about it from two parts. I have the system, like what is a realistic system that makes sense in certain ways for people to watch. Like quest system they decide the quest system makes the more interesting for the viewers, but you have to kind of separate your brain. A lot of writers make the mistake of having different characters at cross purposes still wanting to move together towards the same goal, if that makes sense. Like you have an antagonist who makes you want to do something, and then the protagonist does it, and the only reason why the protagonist does it is because the person writing the book, thinks it's cool that the protagonist does it. So every time I have a new quest or a new monster, a new spell come up, I have to like remove my brain and then say, okay, this is the situation, would they really want to do this? So a lot of times they come up with the quest and their first thing they want to do is like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. They want to break it. It's cool. And then I have to come up with ways to force them to do it that don't seem contrived. And that's a really difficult writing problem. It's a conundrum, and it's a problem that a lot of writers tend to skip. And that's what personally breaks me out of the story. So I like doing things like that, making system things that make sense. And I do this even more in Dominion of Blades, I feel, but something that makes sense to the story, or if it were like a cold system that you're designing that hasn't been tested yet, versus the person trying to deal with it. Like the card system on the most recent floor, this is a designed card system that could work if everyone's enthusiastically playing it, but when people don't want to play it, it's pretty easy to break, and nobody's playing this wants to fucking play it. So that's what happens.
Yeah, I love how you make mechanics and then decide to break them.
Yeah, and it's my brain is always like working on the mechanics, trying to like how do we get out of this cage that I built for myself.
I just want to give a shout out to Uzi Jesus because dude was badass.
Oh man, Uzi Jesus, I get a lot of flack for that.
I feel like that's understandable, but also
Is it mainly Christian moms?
No, so I mean, in the story, there's a card named Uzi Jesus, and he's one of several Jesuses because the system came up with him. He's not the real Jesus. I made a point of Carl saying, "Hey, lots of people are religious for different reasons. Whatever, it's." And then Donut says something inflammatory afterwards, but I make a point of pointing out that the Uzi Jesus in the story is just an NPC that is given the thoughts that he is Jesus. He thinks he's Jesus, but he's obviously not in the canon of the story, and that's it. I think that's pretty funny. I mean, he's like Texan and he has poor trigger control and he's an idiot. That's funny. But if you go online and look at some of my 1-star reviews, you can people's opinions on that can be pretty strong.
Yes, we have author Steve Rowland as a troll. We fucking love Steve. He's one of our good buddies.
And people ask me about that quite a bit. I went on Twitter while I was writing this, and I said, I'm coming up with male stripper names, and help me crowdsource some male stripper names. And Steve responded on Twitter, "You should name one author Steve Rowland." And so
he told me about that because Steve and I, we play Apex together constantly. Mm-hmm. So like he's one of the authors in the genre we've become really good friends with. We just game with him constantly. We have a good time.
He writes under SL Rowland. And
yes.
Okay.
And he also has books with Soundbook Theater, Pangea on Wine, narrated by Mr. Justin Thomas James. And featuring Jeff and I want to say it's Lori or Annie. Oh God, I'm blanking. Shit, we're testing my knowledge.
You're ruining your own podcast.
I am.
With your misinformation.
It's been a while since I've read it. But no, when he told me about that, I was like, "You're gonna be a stripper?" And he goes, "I think so." I was like, instant buy just for that.
I mean, you're gonna get it anyway.
Joel, no one fucking asked you.
So yeah, there's so many books where people like try to sneak in references, and I do the same thing. I sneak in
It
references.
is Lori. Okay, I was right.
And sometimes it gets really obnoxious, I think, when people are like making really obnoxious references. And I just wanted to like, do it myself and turn it up like a notch. And instead of like making like I have the frog people, they're named Grokis, which is named after an author who wrote a book about frogs. And then I have tons of little other author references in there. But naming an actual stripper author Steve Roll as opposed just over the top.
I like that he's like he's one of the like strippers that gets mentioned the most out of all of them. And it's always Donut too. That's like, and author Steve Rowland, he's just so delightful.
My favorite Splash Zone and Don Quixote.
Oh my god. We did have a really, really good question or like comment come in. It's a long one, so here we go. All due respect, Mr. Dinniman, based on everything I've read, you're an eternal optimist. Would you mind if I call you Sunny D? I really want to know about the relationships among authors. It's incredible and coincidental that Carl and Jason Asano were the same boxers. Having Heath Miller add talent to your masterpiece was incredible. Is there honor among thieves where Lit RPG will either intentionally stay away from or intentionally pay homage to other genre heroes?
Well, I'm a big fan of Shirt Alone Travis and of He Who Fights the Monsters. And in case you don't know, Heath Miller plays a voice
Thank you,
in the Sound Booth Theater audio immersion tunnel. He plays the really obnoxious guy from the video that explains what the dungeon is. That's
he was so fucking good at that. Oh my god,
just obnoxiously laughing. And so it was really I said to Jeff Hayes, there's several narrators I really like, and he got this. He was the one that found Heath, but I was so happy. There's several that we still haven't gotten to that I really love to hear in this and future episodes of this. I kind of wanted the Avengers Assemble sort of thing where all my favorite narrators can perform. And that is in all honesty, in addition to like the stupid, silly joke things like the troll we were just talking about, since I'm probably never going to write a book anytime soon, having like them, even if it's for a short amount of time, it's my honor to have them on there. There's so many other narrators I really like, and I would love for the opportunity for other authors just to be able to write like a commercial in the Dungeon Crawler Carl universe. I'm never going to have somebody else write another book in the Dungeon Crawler universe. It's not going to happen. But little things for stuff like that. I mean, I would love for that to happen.
sorry, I was reading a comment from Jeff. He said, "God damn it, Ahmed, completely off topic, but he surprised me with the new boss music for the Juicer. Episode 3 is going to be another banger." Well, I know what I've already got it pre-ordered, so I can't wait for it to fucking drop.
And I believe it's Gary Furlong, the narrator. Gary Furlong does the voice of the Juicer. And I just
oh my god, we fucking love Gary here.
It's
Gary's goddamn delight. I'm just gonna go out and say it that most of the sorry, I had to take my socks off there. My feet were getting sweaty. Most of actually, there's not a single person at Sound Booth Theater that we don't love. We love them all. They're all fucking fantastic people.
We should get like Richie to do the voice of
scouting talent.
The AI when he's talking about feet.
Talk to Jeff. That's all him.
Just once. That would be hilarious.
Season finale. No, Jeff, okay, I'm standing and I'm 6 feet tall. Like I can get my foot like up to my torso and that's it. So no, you're not gonna be fucking feet.
Just do a handstand
to the video.
God damn it. This is the new meme. This is the new fucking meme for Lit RPG. Like what was it? Someone put on Twitter saying, "Oh, Matt, you should put his Twitter handle at somewhere in your next book and tell people to send him feet pics." Please
See, I
don't.
never even saw that. So you're the one that just put
Fuck.
that in my brain.
Fuck me.
No, you're not fucking my feet. That's for sure. You're a weirdo.
Well, so when we did the giveaway, for book 6 or whichever book whoever wanted it, my girlfriend was here the day we announced the winner. I was like, all right, I need you to help me pick this out. And she is also really grossed out by feet. So I had her pick. I was like, I'm sorry for what you're about to see. And she goes, what do you mean? And I opened up Twitter and she goes, I hate you. I fucking hate you. I was like, yeah, well, I have to suffer. You have to suffer now too. So that's why we picked the one with the cat. All right. So Zeckler and BJ kind of asked the same thing. How many pledges for surviving as a character and dying as a character were at the end of the campaign for the next book? And Zeckler asked, how do you plan to handle the 666 and 777 tiers on Kickstarter?
Okay, so on our Kickstarter, we had $666 or to die in the book, and $777 to live in the book. And I actually thought those were reversed when they went out. And I had said we wanted five each of those, and it was done incorrectly. It's my fault for not paying proper attention, and we sold out immediately. But we didn't sell out; they kept selling. I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, to the people running the campaign. We got to turn that off because how the hell am I going to write? So we ended up with like 12 people doing the 777 tier, which is pretty hard. It's going to be hard for me. And then 6 in the dine, I believe. So it's like a total of 18 people basically I have to write into the story. If you've read the most recent book, I had one of those in that book, and that was from a charity auction from Dragon Con, and that was Charles the bartender, that Samantha has fun with. And he had done the Dragon Con charity to die in the next book. So now I really want these people to get their money's worth and all that. But the answer is I don't have any clue how I'm going to do it in a way that's going to make sense and not be hokey. But I'm going to do my best.
Here, just write a character, they die, and in their inventory, it's nothing but like Polaroids of feet pics.
You can. I was gonna
You can
say,
name him Richie for all I care. Just kill me, please, for the love of God. Just kill me at this point.
Oh man, yeah, and like the second I turned it off, I was like tons of messages, people asking for me to add them in this, and I really wish I could, but I mean I literally got dozens and dozens of messages from people offering me all sorts of money to add them to the next book, and I mean I simply can't without compromising the integrity of the story itself. Just be a list of people, and this person died, and this person died, and I don't want to
Just
do
a
it like
giant suicide pact.
that. I want it to be, actually make sense in the context of the story.
Oh, that would be good. Samantha. Have Felicia Day voice Samantha.
Yeah, ask Felicia Day who she wants to voice. I mean, Samantha might have too many lines for her because then she'd pretty much have to be a regular character.
Well, let's see. We're getting kind of close on time. I don't know how long Geneva said we could go for, since she was kind enough to host this for us tonight, so we
you
can
just
stream to
gonna
the
let
Lit RPG
Geneva
group.
tell you what to do?
I'm Geneva's bitch. Let's let that be on the record that I am her bitch. At DragonCon, she made it very clear that I was her bitch. So
don't fuck with the Hearth Mother, dude.
Oh, you don't fuck with the Hearth Mother. So Panda asked, I have a question about how he builds his characters. Like, does he just choose randomly from just some list that he has, or does he actually have an idea of what he wants that character to look like to the reading audience?
For like the actual characters that aren't just like one-offs, every character I make, I come up with their entire story in my head. And sometimes I write it down. because it's important for me for the characters that you meet, the ones that have actual lines and more than just one or two lines, to to the characters themselves know what they want, or they want something. They don't necessarily know what it is themselves, but all characters, and this is for any writer out there, if you write any character, even if they're small, they should have some sort of motivation. We all want something. Richie wants people to stop sending him feet pic, but he secretly likes it. Joel, I don't know what Joel wants, but he wants people to say how cool
Chaos.
his jacket is.
Madness. I don't
Joel's always been a
Watch
cool
the
jacket
world
guy. I just want you to
burn.
know that. Like ever since high school, he's always had like some leather jacket.
I do
and
have a
always
jacket
new one.
fetish. This is known.
See, no, we all want something, but the secret is to write around it. Don't have them necessarily say what they want unless that's what their character would do in that situation. So I come up with like little mini stories for everybody. Everyone that has multiple lines, they have a story somewhere in my head, and that helps. It makes it so much easier to write them, and because they end up doing things that are at cross purposes with the characters. Like, everyone's a main character in their story in their own minds.
Sorry, I'm getting a ton of notifications right now. Fuck.
I can see the screen reflected on your glasses,
Yeah.
and I see the feet pics you keep looking at.
Oh yeah,
so
hold on.
we all know what you're really
Let me
doing.
get closer. There we go. So, and then the private messages, Jima said, also, you are a bitch. Don't forget that. Yeah, I know. I am. Thank you. I mean, I always make the joke since my name's Richard. I'm a dick, and technically every selfie I take is a dick pic. So it's my favorite joke to use. It's my favorite joke to use. So I'm gonna take the glasses off at this point. Fuck.
Okay, so you can freely run a porn now.
Thank God. Let's see. So Damian Mann asked, "What helped you develop the AI in Dungeon Crawler Carl? How long did it have? How long did you have to stay in a padded room?"
Those are two very different questions. But for the AI, as soon as I started writing this story, I make it up as I go along, like I've said many times. But I right away I knew that I wanted like to. First off, they're on a game show, so it has to be something stupid and funny, and then the whole foot fetish thing. I mean, seriously, it came because Carl's on top of the thing and he jumps and it lands and kills the goblin. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of funny if the AI really liked that because of the feet thing. But and then that's how that developed. But I knew right away that I wanted like the existence of the AI and the reason why it has a personality and all that stuff and why they're different from season to season to be an overarching story, and in fact the most important story to the whole thing, and then eventually it's going to be, and it all ties together in the end. So I just gave it an entertaining, that plus I've read so many little RPG books that are great, but then you get like 10 pages of stats, and reading the stats, reading the descriptions is not exciting. It's not interesting to me personally. So I wanted to make that interesting, add an extra little level of spice to the story. If you're going to have to read it, it should be interesting.
Okay. I'm reading the comments some more. So Josh McGriff asked, "What's Richie's favorite aspect of Dungeon Crawler Carl?" Prepotente. Prepotente is my favorite. That boy is he's my favorite character, besides Mordecai. All right, I'm going back to the actual questions.
Who do you like more, Prepotente or Mordecai?
I would have to say Mordecai, just based off of how much we get of him. If we got more Prepotente, I would love that, because I'm really liking what you're doing with his character development right now. Just because I needed more of him in book 6. I'm a little sad I didn't get enough of him, but I'm okay. I'm okay with waiting, because I have a feeling you're gonna rip my fucking heart out with Prepotente, but it's okay, because I want to get a tattoo of Prepotente.
One thing I did want to talk about is the description under Uzi Jesus
You mean on the front of the
on the
book?
front of the book.
What is it on the front of the book? I can't read it.
It's like really tiny letters when I was doing the Photoshop for it. I don't think you can read it on. You have to open it up with the computer and
Fuck you,
zoom
Pony.
in.
Pony is
It's
good
not
boy.
meant to be read. It's like playing Duke Nukem and like using a cheat to get like a rocket so you can jump into little caves that say things like you're not supposed to be here. You know.
I agree with Geneva. Geneva just posted a thing. She wants a I Heart Pony shirt with just him screaming on the back of the shirt.
Okay, I can make that happen.
Fuck yeah, I want one. Because Prepotente is my boy. He's a little badass now, and his descent into madness. He went from fun-loving character to absolutely broken. There was no segue. It was just straight down.
Well, he's like a little kid.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
he just
and we haven't actually learned yet all of Prepotente's like origin story. We know Donut's story. We know that she's obsessed with television because she was sitting there.
Mhm.
But Prepotente is really, really smart, and we don't know yet why he knows all this stuff. And we're going to get all that stuff unless I kill him in the next chapter. We never learn.
Please don't do that to me. I'll accept the feet, pigs. Please don't do that to me. I need. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Duke Nukem character in Dungeon Crawler, Carl. Let's be real.
But yeah, originally, Carl, I was thinking maybe would be like the Duke Nukem style character, but the way I made him is just didn't really work out. He's too empathetic. And then we have Florin, who's dealing with even more than people realize, who's also like, maybe Prepotente is going to go full crazy Daenerys at the end of Game of Thrones TV show. Who knows?
This gibberish tech. So Paul, one of our viewers, just sent me like a zoomed in screenshot of Uzi Jesus's description. I can still barely read it, but I can see some of it. I do not have the time to strain my eyes for that one. Holy shit. So we'll kind of start wrapping up just because I don't want to keep Matt too long from his Sunday night activities. I have no idea what you have going on. And also I have a kitten trying to reach under the door right now, pulling at my jeans. So give me a second. Hey, fucking stop.
Are you abusing animals?
No, I'm locked in my booth right now and she's trying to get in.
You're like in a literal closet, like
yeah, this is my sound studio.
And tormenting kittens. So
no,
Richie goes in a closet,
kittens tormenting
throws
me.
cats out the door and swears at them.
No, Richie's in the closet. We know this.
Dude, I came out like a while ago. God damn it, Geneva. Come here. I'm not keeping Matt forever. Hi, Solar. That's a good girl. So we'll take some last minute questions here. So Jedi Wump asked, question, at what point did Jeff Hayes' characterization replace what was in your head, if at all?
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that any author that's had multiple audiobooks done, what happens is you write the first book, you don't necessarily have their voice in their head. Though everything I write towards audio, and then after the first, I was actually done with the third book by the time the first audiobook came out. But after that, and I listened to it, now when I'm writing it, I hear everything in the characters that Jeff does. And it actually helps, I think, with the dialogue, because Jeff has a certain cadence in the way he writes things. And so we end up playing off of each other quite a bit.
All right. I'll ask, what was like your main inspiration to go to Sound Booth Theater? Did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you?
Jeff and I almost worked together on Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon originally for the original Audible release, and it just didn't work out. And we already knew each other. Like, I think we had like had like a bender or something together once. I don't even remember. But it's not even a joke. But when I was writing Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it was just on Royal Road, and the pandemic had just started, and I submitted like a couple chapters to their Sound Blue Theater Live where they read, certain things, and they had done it. It's still on YouTube. It was the scene with the juicer. Actually, I think Gary did the juicer there too. But they did such a great job, and afterwards, we just started talking, and that's how it worked out.
All right. I mean, as I've stated here multiple times on previous episodes, we love Sound Booth Theater. They've produced some of our favorite audiobooks. And I mean, when I go on a Sound Booth Theater kick, I go on a Sound Booth Theater kick, and I just I save up a backlog, and then I just power through everything.
Yeah, it's everything they touch turns to gold pretty much. And so I figured, it would be very beneficial to my story if Jeff himself did it, and that's exactly what happened.
All right. Joel, do you have any?
Yeah, no. I thought I saw a post a while ago that was there's like a studio or something that was trying to or wanted to make like a Dungeon Crawler Carl something or other.
Like a TV show, or
Yeah.
it was something
You
about
remember?
Amazon, I think.
I don't know
year.
about Amazon, but I am the only news that's officially out there is I am represented by William Morris Endeavor, whose agency in terms of television and movie rights. There's more to that. There's a lot more to that, but I can't say anything. I wish I could. And that's all there is to say about it, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
No, that's fair. I mean, we don't want to get you in trouble or anything, as much as we love our Stats on Stats exclusives. But do you have any exclusive news you can share with us?
Exclusive news I can share with you. Oh man, I have a lot of news that's embargoed. It's stuff I can't say. I have 3 agents for 3 very different things. I'm represented by Seth Fishman for book rights, and that's beyond just Dungeon Crawler Carl. There's translations in the work. There's different medias in the work for Dungeon Crawler Carl 1, if that makes sense. I wish I could say more. There's another agent. There's one I've already mentioned for television and media rights. There's another agent for gaming rights. All of that has stuff that's in process.
I love a Dungeon Crawler Carl game. I'd play the shit out of that.
That's what you get.
All right, that's
cool.
See,
cool.
My preferred Dungeon Crawler Carl game would actually be just a roguelike dungeon crawler.
Mm-hmm.
I would have a blast with that.
Like an actual video game?
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Because I'm like, one of my favorite things to do actually is when I'm listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl, I just boot up Hades. And I just play through that. So
they just have a game called The Crawl.
Give him mad ideas. That he already probably had in his head.
Yeah.
Dude's intelligent. Joel, do you have any last minute comments or anything you want to bring up with your overwhelming enthusiasm?
I have nothing left to say.
Okay, kind of got a little Nick Cage there.
A little bit.
Not sure how I feel about that. Okay. Matt, do you have any last minute comments before we go into our final segments?
No, you guys disappointed the shit out of me. I haven't seen any foot porn from Richie, and I haven't seen.
Haven't seen me.
I'm not moving my laptop. I'm not moving
it. Sounds like a skill issue, Richie.
No, I no, but honestly, I'm really thankful you guys constantly talking about me, and we don't have very many Lit RPG podcasts anymore. Not really out there. There's you, and then there's Crit RPG, I think it's called, and then there's a couple other like ones that people have, and it's really helpful to just have a community where we can have someone that's live streaming and people talking shit in the audience and that sort of thing. And it's really cool that you guys exist, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you,
Well,
man.
thank you. We
I mean,
appreciate it
when Joel and I
that you
started this,
appreciate it.
it wasn't like, oh, we want to make money or anything off this. No, it was just two guys talking about books. That was it. That was the original tagline. Two guys talking about some really good books. But as Josh just said, Matt, thank you for bringing like such an amazing series to us, because this series is just absolutely fantastic, and so is Dominion of Blades and Kaiju Battlefield.
Thank you.
I'm a
You know,
little
I write
concerned for your mental health after reading Kaiju Battlefield, but and
that's
also I think we
nothing.
need to check on the Sound Booth Theater team for having to read that. But
It's nothing.
oh, actually, I want to talk. I want to bring up one last thing, because I think you handle this perfectly. Is your 1-star reviews, the troll reviews? Do you want to comment on that at all?
Sure. Like real quick, all authors will get 1-star reviews if they get like reviews that are just beyond their friends and family. It's eventually going to happen to everyone. And I've been writing a long time, and it took me a long time to get over the fact that it's hard for some people, especially people that are super sensitive. When you see a review that like a legitimate 1-star review where they say, well, this, I didn't like this because this 1 star. And that can be hard. And after a long time of having to deal with that, I kind of got to the point where, they don't really affect me anymore. A lot of people, they just say don't read them. I read all my reviews. I tend to read all my reviews, not all of them. But if someone has like a really inflammatory 1-star review, a lot of times, and that's the thing, a lot of times the worst reviews are actually the 2 and 3-star ones, the ones that are with legitimate things to say, because I think 1 star should be like saved for like plagiarism and stuff like that. But a lot of times the funniest reviews are the 1-star reviews. Who doesn't, when they're looking at something, who doesn't like to click on the 1-star reviews and go to them and read what people have to say? A lot of times they're just stupid people saying stupid shit, and they're being idiotic, and they're funny. They're hilarious, and I like to copy them. I like to put them on my Facebook or my Twitter. I literally put them on the backs of books. For people, some of the books will have 1-star reviews on the very back and the bottom. Not all of them. I don't remember if I did one for the most recent one.
Eye at the Bedlam does not have one, because I have it right here.
Okay.
Which it was the first, which sadly,
No, it's not on this one. Let me see the back of yours.
oh no, it is. Okay, I was looking at the wrong spot.
Okay.
I'd
'Cause it's
rather nail my dick to the table than read Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for a 1-star.
That one, the reason why that one's not on there is it's not because it wasn't a review. That was a comment from Reddit. But
I remember we talked about that. I think at DragonCon you had mentioned something about putting a Reddit comment on one of the books.
yeah. So someone said we should have Donut read it, and I actually had that idea. I was gonna bring that to Jeff. It was where Donut reads and comments on 1-star reviews. Donut and Carl, that would be hilarious.
Just make that bonus content for the end of season 1.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great idea. But yeah, so you as a writers, you should embrace your poor reviews. A lot of times it's just people being stupid, especially if they're
Right.
1-star. Because a lot of people, no one's gonna like everything you do, no matter how hard you try, and you don't want to do that. Like whenever there's like people vote for the best of, how often is it your favorite thing that wins? It's usually something that is the least offensive. It's the one that wins the best of, when it's like a community poll that where people can choose multiple things, or they can only choose one, or like the best joke of all time is always something that's least offensive. And so people are going to like it. You should learn to embrace your 1-star reviews, laugh at them, laugh with them. And if they're being yeah, well, fuck you too, asshole, that sort of thing. It's not a big deal. People very rarely get turned off by a single 1-star review unless it's something that would have upset them themselves already. Like once he kills a cat and strangles a cat with his own intestines, 1 star. If some people
Yeah.
like that, and other people, no. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going off the rails here, but
Oh, you're good. You're good. No, I've seen how you like react to the troll reviews, and I always laugh at them, and that it's something I'm like always like on the lookout for when the next book releases.
but
Just
one thing
because,
I will say is don't respond to the non-troll 1-star
right,
reviews. Like if someone says something like, I thought the pacing was way off in this book, and I didn't have the same sense of excitement in this one as I had the previous one, or I find this person's writing really dull, and those are types of reviews you will get. Those are the ones that actually do affect you the most. Don't respond to those because then you look like a little bitch, and
right.
and people do respond to those, and you always end up looking like the bad guy, and it's kind of, you should just not respond to reviews at all, honestly. But
No,
unless you know what you're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I've been lucky so far.
well, we're happy you've been lucky so far because I mean you're kicking ass, plain and simple. You're kicking ass. So
I'm trying, doing my best.
so we'll start to wrap up the show here. Holy fuck, do we have a schedule? We have a packed
Yeah.
schedule for
All
Stats
at
on
the end
Stats
of the
the
year.
next 6 weeks. I'm sorry, Joel. I'm sorry, buddy.
Let me just cancel the rest of my family plans.
Hey, I got us done before Christmas, and the last episode I asked you specifically before doing this, so you have yourself to blame.
Yeah, you
So
have
next week
KT tomorrow.
no, it's next week. I had the dates wrong.
Oh, well,
So
I'm going to see Royal Blood tomorrow anyway, so
fuck yeah.
yeah.
So next week, on the 20th, we have KT Hana at 7:00 Eastern time. Then on the 27th, we have Daniel Shinhoffen. But I might have to tweak that one a little bit just because I start my new job that day, and I will actually be down in Kentucky for training. So I'll be at a hotel. So Joel, you might have to host that one, and I'll
Are you
just
working at KFC?
ha. I'm going back to Frito Lay. Thank you very much. Then we have J.M. Clark on the 4th of December, Timothy McGowan on the 11th, and then to wrap up the year, we have Michael fucking Chatfield coming on the show, which Joel is way too excited for that one.
Yeah.
But we might have a couple like hidden episodes in there because Zach Johnson reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I kind of want to talk Shadow Agency." I was like, "Dude, I'm all for it. Let's do it." Because Shadow Agency was probably my favorite new listen of the year. And it was damn good. And of course, it's a sound booth theater production book, obviously. So, and then, yeah, that's our schedule. We haven't announced or we haven't done the giveaway for Artem yet because I've just been falling behind on everything. But we have that one in the works. We'll probably get it out going around Christmas time. I do apologize to everyone because people were wanting it to be, across the world. We can only do US shipping at the moment just because international shipping is fucking expensive. And I am sorry. But we will make do on something for international people as well. I promise. So let's go ahead and start wrapping up with our favorite segment of Hey, what you been reading? Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, let me see. Right now, I'm listening to Republic of Thieves, which is the third book in the Lives of Locke Lamora series, by Scott
right.
Lynch. One of the most amazing books I've ever listened to. Seriously, it's the entire series is great, but it's 2 books in one, really, and it's just out of this world.
All right. Is
Cool,
that
cool.
it or
I've been going through Terry Pratchett's books, like physically, and I actually finished before I went to Vegas and I haven't started anything new. I might, I have the weakest Ice Mage. Was it the weakest Ice Mage by Griffin, Bradley, or um, I can't remember the exact title, but I have that one. I'm going to read that one next.
All right. Hey Joel,
Yeah.
what you been reading?
So I finished up the Beneath the Dragon Eye Moon series,
Fuck yeah.
and
Griffin Frost.
it was
Sorry,
so good.
the
Other than
weakest Frost
that,
image.
I listened to KT Hana's to Omnibus.
Oh, for Simona or Samia Online and System
Somnia
Apocalypse.
and System Apocalypse. Those were. I'm excited to discuss that on the 20th. And other than that, I think I've been listening to like the Land Book 8 as I like sleep.
Yeah.
If that counts.
No, it does, because I mean I turn on an audiobook to fall asleep. I just set a like 45-minute timer, and then I
It's
that way,
just
and I
makes
always do it with ones I've listened to begin with. So I've done it with Dungeon Crawler Carl before, because that's something to fall asleep to.
That's offensive to me.
It's after I've listened to it like 4 or 5 times, to be fair. So, and usually I do it right before the release of the next. So Joel, is that it?
I have read a bunch of westerns.
Westerns are fucking awesome, especially
They're
like
short.
that Cowboy Necromancer by Harmon Cooper. Shout out to Harmon.
Shout out Harmon. No, when I was a kid, I read through like all the Louis L'Amour books they had in the library, which is all of them, and there's like 1,000 of them. And then after Louis L'Amour, they had a bunch of other one-offs and two-offs by authors. I don't even remember them, but all these like tiny little books, you could read them in an afternoon. They're like 40,000 words, 50,000 words, and you just bang, 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 bang.
All right. So for me, I'm currently working through System Apocalypse book 1, or System Apocalypse Australia book 1, because we have KT. I'm doing my note taking for that one. I just listened to Mark of the Fool that because it was recommended by Geneva, and then we got in touch with JM, and I was like, all right, yep, this is fucking good. Revenant, the audiobook for the first Artem book by Jez, that dropped on the 31st, and it was fucking awesome. The audiobook for that was beautiful. Arcane Knight by Timothy McGowan. KT's new Royal Road series is actually really fucking good. I've been reading that on Royal Road, and it's really good. I think I'm on like chapter 10 or 11 right now. So, and then I did a re-listen to the Pyre Souls Apocalypse by James D. Callum, because I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and I needed some of that like bonfire-ness in my life. Lotus Lake by Jay Boyce, and also Siphon. I did start out Oathbound Healer, which I think that's the dragon one you were talking about.
Yeah,
Joel.
Beneath the Dragon Eye Moon.
Yeah. And that's really about it for what I've been reading. But also, for those of you who don't know and have never really tuned into a Sound Booth Theater live, they do a troll poll every once in a while, and Jay Perez, who is one of the mods for the Miss Village Mafia, and he's also just the resident troll in Lit RPG. He's writing a book, and it's possibly going to have an excerpt from it read on the troll poll, which it's a dungeon AI that's based off of Geneva, and the fairy is Kristen. And if you don't know Geneva and Kristen, you're living under a rock at this point. But go vote on the Sound Booth Theater Live community post on their YouTube page, because I want to see that read. It's gonna be fucking awesome. But that's really about it. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and Matt, I want to thank you for joining us, because this is an episode we wanted for the longest time.
Yep.
And I think
Thanks,
actually, Joel, what was it, like our 3rd or 4th episode we talked Dungeon Crawler Carl, like when we first started doing this,
Probably.
before we
Yeah.
started doing like a guest every week.
Hey, well, I'm happy to be here.
So it's we really want to thank you, man. It was awesome. It was awesome getting to hang out with you at Dragon Con, and congratulations on all the success that Dungeon Crawler Carl has been, because it's such a damn good series. It's one of my favorite. It's in my top 5. That's for sure.
It's definitely the first one I recommend to new listeners for the genre.
Same.
Just because it has so many of the like aspects that are really well done.
Well, you guys
I
are
can
definitely
go
my
on and
top 5 Lit RPG podcast people.
Fuck yeah!
Scold.
I think that's high praise right there.
Well, Joel is.
Yeah, well, fuck Joel. So, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Geneva, for hosting this tonight so we could stream to the Lit RPG group and Lit RPG Legion. Because we normally just do our Twitch page, but we're trying to branch out a little bit more. And I think tonight's been a great episode. Probably one of the most fun episodes I've had in a few weeks because I got to miss last week's episode and I feel bad about that.
No, we all love Geneva. Last time I saw Geneva, she was crying at a Las Vegas bar. True story. And I felt bad about leaving her, but you know,
It's
do
Geneva.
What you gotta do when you're in Vegas.
So be sure to tune in next week on Monday the 20th at 7 p.m. Central, or not Central, Eastern time. We're not Central time. What the fuck am I doing? It's been a long day. For our episode with KT Hana, where we will be talking, some of her books. And if you haven't read any of KT Hana's books, fucking read them. They're great.
I love KT.
She's amazing, and she gives the best hugs.
Okay, that's a weird thing to say, but I think she's amazing.
No, she gives the best hugs. I got a hug from her at Dragon Con. Like, first time I met her, she was like, "Oh, I know who you are. Give me a hug." I was like, "Okay, cool, hugs."
The first time I met her, she thought I was Harmon Cooper.
I could see that. You and Harmon are very, very similar in appearance.
I don't see
You
it.
shut your filthy whore mouth right now.
You're both gorgeous.
I'm
You're
going to
both
kick
gorgeous.
your ass the next time I see you.
Cool. Hey, how about this? Come to Indie PopCon next year, so that way, while Patrick Warburton is signing this, you can beat the shit out of me, and we can get a picture of it in the background. That's your next marketing material.
All right, I have this on recorded.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. That you heard it here, folks. That's your Stats on Stacks exclusive. So, Geneva, you're good to cut the stream at
No,
anytime.
we're supposed to do the wave thing.
Yep, the
Bye.
No, Joel, you got to do like the princess wave.
Princess wave.
You cup and move your wrist.
Yep.
We're still live. It's like